Does anyone recognise this shed? Hello, I'm Griffith, welcome to Gwynny Griffith. Here we talk everything beekeeping, farming, countryside living, and we do reviews as well. Now, for those of you watching, you may recognise this shed. And if you remember, there was one big problem with this shed, and that shed isn't on my yard. And you probably recognise the truck now branded up, and it's no other than Richard Noel.
Hi Griff.
Hey, how are you, Rich? You good?
Yeah, good to see you. Nice to see you.
You've lost a lot of weight.
Thank you very much.
Looking really, really good.
Stress, you know how it is. You're looking great yourself.
I know. This time of year, if you're a bee farmer, you just lose weight because you're working, you're stressing, it's non-stop, and you just, I suppose you're burning more than what you're getting in the system, isn't it?
I think, yeah. But I have been looking at my health a bit, and it's about time I stop eating all them lovely pastries and prawns. too many pound
That is
chocolates.
one thing around here. We get croissants every day. There's a bakery around every corner, and it is the nicest bakery you have ever seen. But I am here with Richard Noel in his honey house. A lot of work has been going on here. A lot more is due to happen next month, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's frustrating for me because I would have loved to have shown you in 2 months' time, because in literally 4 weeks, everything's going to kick off here. After the les vacances is finished.
Yeah.
Because nothing happens really now. But no, seriously, it's taken a long time to get everything to this point, and it's been frustrating for me because I wanted it done, but you have to put things into context. I was hoping to, as you know, to be out of my veranda extracting honey in there this year and already in here, but it's just the way things work out in terms of electricity, all the logistics, all this infrastructure I've been trying to put in, but now it looks like it will be finished within the next 2 months. So by Christmas, when you come back, Christmas, you'll have to pay for you to come back just so you can see it. It'll be done. But no, we're getting there. We're getting there. But you've already given me like a bit of encouragement, because having some come in like yourself, who hasn't seen this place for a year, it's been really nice that you said, oh, that's done, that's done. I went, oh yeah, it has, and I forgot I did that and all this. So we're going to have a look inside. I'm going to bore you all to death with the ins and outs, and Griff's going to tell you how wonderful it is, but I'm really thrilled with it. You know, we're just getting there. It just takes time. Good.
Because we were talking there now earlier, and when you're doing a project like this, a year goes by and you yourself, because you're there all the time, you think nothing has happened. And it's the same on the farm with us. Me and Angara, from year to year, we think nothing is happening. But say 6 years goes by, then you look back at the 6 years, and then it's amazing how much is achieved over like a 6 year or 10 year block. And it's the same year. It costs so much money. There's so much regulation. There's so much stuff. You can never get things on a project this big unless you got millions and millions of pounds to bring an army of people in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the same with us at home. We're doing a honey house now. That is like 3-4 years in the making.
Yeah, I mean, when I visited you last spring, you advanced hugely in your place, and your new honey house is coming along great now. You're kind of nearly there. After you've had a bit of a rap on the knuckles, I said, you're not doing it like that, okay? You're doing it like this. But this is what we're all learning from each other, and it's great to have this thing. You know, as you know, I went to Ollie's place in Ireland. He'd put a mezzanine in. Mine's going in. On the 8th of September, they're all turning up with that's being delivered. But what I was going to say was, in a roundabout kind of way, that because everyone's in these places every day, you don't appreciate how much you do, because you're always working towards that goal. But the work you do is constant, and then you never can see it grow because you're there all the time. When you come away or someone visits it, that's when you go, actually, it's really coming on. But we'll get there. You know, but you've got to have that. You just got to keep digging at it, haven't you? You just got to keep focusing, because it will come. Like your business as well. You know, your new honey house is getting. Now you're talking about doing other rooms and other sheds, and I totally know where you're coming from. It's it's great.
No, that's what I want to ask you before we go in there. What's the season been like in France? Because I think, where we are in Wales, probably one of the worst seasons I've had in recent memory. I know some of the English guys in the UK, they've had an amazing season. You know, I think everybody had a poor spring in England, but some of the guys I'm talking to, they're having an amazing summer crop. Some guys, I think Murray up in Scotland is onto a stormer on the heather again.
But he's had to feed.
And he's had a nightmare up until now.
Yeah.
What's it been like in France? Has the honey been good? What was spring like? What's the summer been like? And then the third part of the question, what's the Asian hornets situation been like this year compared to previous years?
Okay, so I'll try and, in a nutshell, the spring was atrocious. I lost hives to starvation, purely because of my own fault, because I had young, strong colonies, moved them to new apiaries, thought that because I hadn't been to them and I had harvested honey from other apiaries, that they would be fine, and when I got there they'd eaten all the honey. So in that respect it was atrocious. Everybody was the same. The beekeeping group was getting phone calls saying my bees have died of poisoning, and they'd say, well, can you go and look inside please? And there was actually only a few bees out the front, and there was like mountains of dead bees. Basically starvation. We've had the worst spring, I think, in living memory that anyone I know here can remember. It's all becoming the extremes. In terms of other beekeepers around France, for instance, there was no acacia this year because the weather ruined all that. The flowers went off. If you fed your colonies at the right time and brought them through, like we just mentioned about Murray, having to feed in the spring, and the same for the UK beekeepers, the summer seems to have turned the corner fairly good. So I'm harvesting a slightly above average crop for me, but that's only because we had a small window in the weather that was 3 weeks, and we had the high humidity. There's not a lot of groundwater at the moment, but when you need the humidity, because when you get high humidity, it seems to help the flowers like literally bleed nectar out, whereas they don't have to lose the moisture through their leaves. So you've got that high humidity and the flowers give. So we had that just at the critical time. 3rd week of June to the 2nd week of July, we had a fairly good run of it. So then the bramble came because it was all so late. So long story short, atrocious spring, quite a good summer. But when you put the two together, it's still a very poor year. And now we're into the dearth. But in terms of Asian hornet, this is now, we are back to what we were before 2022. We have had very, very few queens that we've trapped. And we put it all down to the same thing, same for the bees, same for the common hornet, that it's that few months when that young overwintering queen emerges, that she's trying to make a nest. If there's not the sugars around, the carbohydrate and the protein she can gather to raise those young hornets, she won't do very well. And I know that a lot of them have died, because we had this a few years ago as well when we started to see a few, then we had a bad year. So I think the UK will have been the same.
Yeah, funny you should say that, because we haven't seen hardly any wasps until last week.
Yeah.
And interesting that you had a poor spring here, we had a poor spring at home, and that's knocked the wasps at home, because last year it was the worst I've ever seen the wasps.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
And you know, this year hardly ever seen a wasp up until last week.
Yeah.
So you know, interesting that the poor spring for the bees is really bad for the wasps as well.
It is. It seems to have hit everything across the board. I mean, I know like the swallows, for instance, on insects, they've had a really poor year because they haven't had the insects early on. You've only got to look at the front of your car. I think you'll find it's pretty clean. There's hardly any insects, you know, flying around. It's just all those signals that it's been a poor year. But we've got honey. I'm truly grateful to have that. Okay, it's hard now. We get the hot spell. We've got the dearth. I'm caging queens, doing all the usual things I do this time of year. That's nearly done. I've got the rest of the honey to get off. That's nearly done. Another 2 weeks and we'll be completely clear. Then there's just the bulk of the extraction to finish. But overall, we ended on a high note, but it was really grim this spring. I honestly wondered, what was the point of building this building sometimes? You do. You question, you question your motives.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm in that boat now thinking we spend a lot of this money on a new honey house and worst honey crop in history. But it's always cheaper to do something now with inflation than to wait 2 years to do it, because it'll be loads more expensive then. So at least you've done it now, and once this is in place, totally finished, it's paid for, and you know, your life will be a dream, really.
I hope so. I hope I put things into place so it means I can have bees, extract the honey efficiently, have more time when I need to have time in the apiaries, and then I'll be able to package the honey in a nice way, you know, that's not rushed, that's always got... I just want stations where I can go to a place, and we're doing labelling here, right? And that's where I generally do my labelling, right? We've got the creamer here, that's where it stays. I'm just really fortunate to have enough room to put that into place. Yeah. And it's going to make everything work really well, I hope.
And I suppose then, once your systems are in place and, you know, your equipment's in place, the business becomes a lot more profitable then, because you're not moving stuff around all the time.
Totally.
Everything's there, so there's less time and labour. It means that you can actually do more with the better facilities than you would.
That is the general idea.
So, you know,
but there is loads to do.
Yeah,
I mean, loads.
But you know, that's where the investment goes in. You think, how do you pay this off? Well, that's one element of how you pay it off, with being able to do a lot more stuff with the work being a lot easier.
Yeah.
And Tom, our work being a lot easier, we're going to have a go at one of the bits of kit which I did buy last year. That's operational, so we'll go have a look at that in a minute. But first, I want to know, are you getting more sales since
believe it or not, yes, I am. But I think it's more because I've got some branding out there with my new logo that I did last autumn, and there it is on there, yeah. But people are beginning to understand that, and they're buying local. But I'm just about to start supplying one of the local supermarkets that is big around here, and they want local. And this is what is really great for beekeepers. We can supply a genuine product when you buy from the beekeeper. And I think that stands me in good stead, because I can see I've invested in the area, I've invested in my product, I'm passionate about what I have about it, I work hard, producing a nice product like yourself, to people who are happy to buy something that is genuine, and we know it's not adulterated. I'm not saying that all honey is, but I'm saying our honey is real honey, and that's what people like, and that's where I've done really well. I mean, you stick a brand in that as well, and suddenly your sales pick up.
100%, and you know, if you follow me, we're big on branding, and I think that's a crucial part of selling anything. Right, Rich, let's have a look, is it?
Come on then, I'll
let's
show
see
you
how
inside.
things are going.
Yeah. So there's kind of not much has happened, but a lot's happened. But the biggest thing was the start was getting the pallet racking in. That's opened up a lot of things for me here.
Look at this. See if I get a bit of light. Set up on the bottom. And we got space all the way up there. Look at that. Look how tidy and clean that is.
All used, everything used to its max.
And this is new.
This is new, yeah.
This is your pallet mover.
Yeah. Quick demo. Basically, the only downside of this is you have to have somewhere for the forks underneath to go. But the beauty of it is it will lift to 3.3 meters. So it's 3,200.
Yeah, let's see how...
And then, but it won't lift all the weight to that height, so it'll lift easily my glass, so when I get the mezzanine in, it can stack to that, so...
Wow, that's high.
Yeah, it is high. So my mezzanine is 3.1 meters high, and the... I'm not the tallest, but look how high that is. Wow. It's ideal for what I need. The thing is, I can tell you about this machine a bit. I could buy a Toyota or a high-level machine, but I'm only using this once or twice a week, so there's no point in investing in a machine that's going to cost 7 or 8 grand. This cost me 3,000 euros, okay? And the guys that are going to fit the mezzanine next week, or in 4 weeks' time, will be using a forklift that they would have had to pay to be delivered, which cost 3,600 euros. That's the rental for a week. So I said, if I get one of these, will it do the job? Perfect, he said. So it's paid for itself. It's basic mass, but as I said before, I don't need a high-spec machine. You know, I don't need to have a machine. I've got this. It's battery operated. You plug it in, and I can move my syrup around there. I can put syrup in buckets. It's not going to give me injuries. It's electrically pushed. It goes out to the slab. It does everything I need. So I looked at what I could have, and for me, manual handling is something I knew a little bit about when I worked for the ambulance service a long time ago, moving patients around. But wherever you go, whatever you do in business or in your life, you've got to look after your back. And if you can manual handle stuff correctly, you save yourself a lot of grief and a lot of future possible injury.
Well, he says that's not a high-spec machine. That looks pretty high-spec to me. That's a nice piece of kit, that is.
Look at how you plug it in, look. That's the recharge. It's a doddle.
Easy.
You know, I mean, and I've only charged it once since I've had it. So, I mean, it's got twin batteries. It's not expensive what it is, but that is a great piece of kit if you're looking for a small workshop, but you do really need good floors.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Richard's got probably the best floor I've ever seen in a shed.
Complete with propolis, look.
Yeah. way better than my farm spec floors, but no, that's nice. I think that's excellent. Ideal for use in here, and there's no diesel fumes, nothing. It's not going to leak from anything. So it's electric, it's clean. I mean, perfect.
Following on from that, everything is now palletized. When the mezzanine is in, everything that I don't need here will go up onto the mezzanine out the way, and that will free up even more space. All these frames, for example, they're going to be just wrapped at the top to hold them together, but then they'll go up on the mezzanine until I'm ready to put them into use next year. That's my winter job, to get them load done. I've got a lot of work. And then we move down here, and obviously other people who watch my YouTube video will see my mezzanine is going to go here. I'll just grab the plan and I can show you briefly.
So what we mean by mezzanine, so there's a hall upstairs. When's this coming? September next month, isn't it?
Sorry?
The mezzanine is coming next month.
This is the plan, basically, the mezzanine. We are standing kind of here now, about there, and we've got a mezzanine that will be the whole area in front. This is the warming room at the back, over there. That is the extraction room there. So it goes right down this side, and that's the other side. So office this side here, toilets that side, and then working room there from the warming room. But that's basically what it will be like, very briefly. But then it will offer huge storage as well.
Massive.
And then underneath that, we divide all the rooms up, and then we're away.
Basically, you're doubling the floor space here.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Because you've got the storage upstairs. So, you know, Rich, you can store a lot more stuff, keep a lot more kit, buy more jars, bring the price down, buy more buckets, bring the price down. You've got a big stack of new supers there. It just allows you to buy in bigger volumes, get the unit price down.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Then
and then you can
you're
handle it.
profitable.
You only have to buy less. You can buy less, but one purchase to last you longer. I've gone into barrels, as you know. I bought some manual handling kit, which I'll show you in a minute. But I've got this barrel remover now, which I had at another workshop where I worked. Just to give you a quick demo of that, this was from the Ruchers du Bassigny, who made my new crane over there as well, which we'll show you in a minute. But this is the barrel mover they make. You really need a polished floor to use it. But this is a barrel mover that will lift 300 kilos straight up. That's how I move my barrels around. If you want a safe way to move equipment, invest in manual handling gear. It's a bit of money, but you can always resell it. It'll last you a lifetime. This is a Nico base that supports the Langstroth and the Dadant frames now. I've got one over here. I'll grab one for you.
Look at this. Solid stainless steel. Really nice.
This is what I will put most of my barrels on now. I will use other supports, but basically I'm going over to these because this is rated to take 300 kilos. You can put a sheet of ply on it if you want. But simple things like that, basically get your barrels off the ground. Once they're off the ground, then you can get something else underneath them. I've even got a barrel mover at the back, which is a two-wheeled one, which is like a truck. But you can then access it when they're off the ground with one of these. So good pieces of kit, straightforward. Just don't lift anything that's too heavy. So the other piece of kit I've got, which I've integrated in the honey house to help me not injure myself so much when I'm working hard. And say you've got 150, 200 supers that you've got to lift off the top here. So you'd normally be picking them up like this and going, like struggling around with it, taking it to the extraction table. With this machine, this is from Ruchers du Bassigny as well. Basically, you can pick up a super, like that, and then it will lift up your supers and then lower them onto your table or wherever you want to put it. It's pneumatic.
You like the French Ian Stepler with the old easy loader?
A little bit, yeah. But it's just something to help you. It might not necessarily save you time, but it will save you back when you're constantly lifting stuff in and about. And it means also when, imagine we're in the extraction room here, it will go anywhere in the extraction room, to be honest. If you go right around this side, I've got supers here, and obviously right over to this side, because it folds in the middle. So I can lift any supers I want, even from over here, I think, yeah.
So that noise you can hear, it's all run on a compressor.
And you've got the arm bends when you need it. I haven't used this much, so I'm new at it as well. So basically any super that's in with range picks up to about 30 kilos max, but that's the weight of any super, and it does give you, it's basically a huge piston in the arm there, and then you can move your supers around with that. So you've got this really cool design that Basically, once you unclamp it, you lift it off like that, and to reclamp it on, you just lock it in like that, and then away you go.
Now these are the frames you were talking about the other day.
Yep.
The plastic frames, but they don't need waxing.
No, I think it's because they're part built.
So if we look there, see, it's not just foundation. That actually is coming out probably a good 5-6 mil.
Yeah.
Of hex.
I think it's about 4 mil, they say, of hex comb. And if you buy them in bulk, I got that lot. I got a huge load over there still. If you buy them in bulk, they're not expensive. About €1.80 each, maybe €2 each. If you buy them by, I bought 1,500 because I got 150 supers to fill. You need a good flow to get them built, and you need to space them in tens to build them on. But I've explained that, and you might remember me explaining that. But to me, this is what I use for all my honey extraction and what for my honey supers, and they work really well. I love them because they're really robust.
Well, we started using some plastic frames this year, and we're impressed with them as well. And obviously the floor is in now. This was just a hole last time, so underfloor heating's in and the concrete on top.
This is the manifold for the extraction room section. So we've got three areas here, and then we've got another area down there for the warming room, and then another one for the office area, toilets, and a bit of a storeroom as well here. I'm not quite sure how this room's going to be divided up yet. There's still a lot of work to do on that. But you see we've got all our pipes in. All this has been done because the plumber came last week and said, I want to get all this in before we put any rooms up, so we know that all the conduit that I put in previously wasn't damaged or kinked. So that's in, and that's a big relief to me. So electricity is going to go in this side. Plumbing here, we've got a heat pump to go outside with the modules, one side there, one side here, and then we are basically done. Electric plugs around every room. That's also going to be all done as part of the next section. So, but as I said, within a very short space of time, I'm hoping this will be virtually complete. And then a lot of this stuff will be up above us, out of the way. You can actually see the height of the mezzanine up there. I don't know if you can film that. I had to work out the heights, but that's the bottom of the mezzanine there. You can see the big line, and the top is the above of the mezzanine. So it's quite a big piece of kit.
And you're not losing any height.
No.
Down here.
The problem is I had to get a balance between, so this machine, if I wanted to take this off, that's 17 centimetres give or take, and I've got to have extra height above that to be able to get that off if I want to get to the bearing there. So it's something to bear in mind. Otherwise I've got to rip the bolts out of the ground, which is a nightmare. But that piece of kit is really, really great, and I want to make sure I can maintain it. But also, I was thinking originally being able to bring the pallet mover inside here, the electric one. But in retrospect, when I spoke to the people, and this is what it's all about, they said to me, the problem was the doors. We couldn't get the doors high enough to get the forks, the top of the forks in. But he said, if we make the doors bigger, it'll cost you more money. But at the end of the day, why don't you just use a normal ground-based pallet mover, a pallet truck inside the honey house? He said, if you wanted to put one load of glass on another one, you could do it outside, and then you just bring them on the pallet truck after. The problem is, he said, the doors are more expensive, and the chances are that you will hit the roof with the top of the forks without even, you see, because I've seen it in other places, and it's just the knowledge of that, and it's just asking people's advice, and so that's what I've decided to do. So I'll have extra, I've got about 27 centimetres above the top of the machine and the ceiling, so it's not huge, but it's just pointless bringing that machine in. So, and also having the doors at the standard size is a lot cheaper, because it's going to cost me nearly 50k to get all this divided up.
Yeah,
it's
well,
a huge amount of money.
The doors we're putting in, we're going for standard height. I think 2 metre, whatever. I think it's 2 metre, and we've gone 2 metre by 2 metre, so we can bring, and we're doing the same. We're going to get another one of them, not electric, and everything's level.
Because if everything's level, I have to say, I know this is like a bit Rolls-Royce floor, but it is amazing, because once you get that in, everything, but once you're on pallets, so I never ever thought in my life that I'd be able to palletize everything, but putting that floor down was the best stroke. You put a decent floor down in your place, it'll be amazing. It really does change. But just think about, like you've done, incorporate your manual handling. I know it's a lot of money to invest. I know if you haven't got it, it's all very well saying that, but it costs money, yes, but try and streamline your operation so that if you do need it, incorporate it in, because it will save you hassle long term.
Yeah, well, one of the best things we done was start putting everything on pallets, and then you just move pallets around the place, and you're not handling everything by hand. And in our new honey house, everything to be on pallets. Supers coming in on pallets, wheeled in and wheeled out the same way.
I know that everything in here can be cleared in 20 minutes because it's all on pallets now. So I'm super excited, but I'm also anxious because I know that this whole building is going to change so much. It won't be echoey anymore, I don't think. Well, much less. Once the rooms are in, you know. So
and it's basically double the shed. Like that almost, isn't it?
It will, instantly. So you can see things have changed. For instance, I ordered the extra bit of pallet racking just to fill that gap so that the mezzanine starts from there onwards.
And not have a space then.
So it just makes the best of it. So because it just worked out really well. But it's little things like that make the difference. But once you get into palletizing stuff and you get the room initially, think big. Always think slightly bigger. And that's what I've worked out. Because now I still don't think I've got enough space. We worked out a calculation. I heard someone told me that they reckon that for every one hive you have, you need 1.5 square meters back at the workshop or wherever you process the honey, including the processing room, to manage that hive. And if you think about it then, so 200 hives is 300 square meters. That very quickly eats into a big area.
Say you average 4 supers a hive or something, you know, that's a lot of space that you've got to find storage for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I tell you what, Rich, it's coming on really, really good in here. Very, very nice. Looking forward. Next time I come, it'll be a different shed then. So hopefully I get another holiday in France next year. And if we're not too far from Rich,
you won't be allowed in next time. You'll have to have slippers on at the door.
Slippers. There we go. There we go. But no, it's coming on really good, Rich.
Thanks.
Really
I said it's like so frustrating because I really wanted to be in here for this year. But sometimes, as I said before, you've just got to bite the bullet and just accept that I can still extract honey. It has actually helped me in retrospect get other details better because it's given me more time.
Better to take longer doing something. Sacrifice now to gain later.
It's like your floor drains. You're glad you put them in now.
Definitely, and it's the same with this. You know, sacrifice a bit now to get it perfect, rather than rushing something through when you're not quite ready. Oh, that'll do for now, and then you end up then with the product that you didn't want. So you're always better off sacrificing a little bit now to gain later on.
I think it's like that, and there is things that I still wish I'd done differently, but I have to kind of think, okay, you did most of that right, there's a bit you got wrong, but you can get around that now. I wish I'd put more conduits in. I still want to get another cable to out there, or a cable to out there, or, you know.
You'll always have to add stuff to it, and that's just how it goes. But looking really, really good, and you got some 2 fancy looking nukes out there with breeder queens.
Two nice breeder queens.
Let's go out there and have a look at those nukes.
So we're talking about the lack of Asian hornets before, and Griff just pointed out before I even noticed that we've actually got one in front of this hive. But it is one, and I don't know where it's gone. It's probably around. We might see it again in a second. I've just put a bee escape on this colony, so there's actually not many bees up in the top. They're all in the bottom there because it went on last night, so most of the bees will have gone through by now. So I'll pull that honey after. But we just come here to a quick look at these 2 nukes. These are 2 nukes that I put queens into the other day, and I've actually fed them with the Hive Alive treatment. You can see they've taken that completely down, which is the new Hive Alive bee liquid that you can buy. So I really like that. But these are a instrumentally inseminated Carnica from Apis Dono. That's their thing, their brand, and also one from, and also a Buckfast queen, both inseminated. So 240 bucks worth, 120 quid each.
Just the queens?
Just the queens. So what I did was I did a little bit of an extra process with these guys. I put them under a pushing cage, left them for 5 days, pulled off the cage, saw how the queen was, but then I checked there was larvae or eggs in the cells, which there was. But then I tried something different. I then put the queen under the cage again on some other emerging brood, not too much brood, because I didn't want too many bees under the cage, but then I left the queen cage so then I could lift it out again and see if the bees had removed those larvae. And often I find if they don't want a queen, they'll dig out the larvae that she's laid as well. And this time all the larvae was there. So when I went in there only a couple more days after just to see, they left all those larvae, they were growing and being fed, and then the queen had carried on laying underneath the next patch I moved her. So it gives you a double acceptance recognition kind of thing, that if you're unsure, and she seems to be walking around in the frame, but when you're talking 120 bucks worth each queen, you don't really want to get it wrong, you know?
No, definitely take extra precautions with an expensive queen. You definitely don't want to introduce something like that quick, because that's a lot of money.
These ones were on a nuke that was a little bit less nice, but they've become really nice in the last 3 or 4 days.
They like that hive of life.
Oh, it's completely gone. Completely gone. So what you do is you put the pouch on, and then you just do 4 or 5 dots in the top with like a pin, literally like a drawing pin or a panel pin, and then as the plastic has a little bit of weight, it starts to descend down, and they just drink it off the top. I think it's a really good system.
So what's the plan with these breeder queens then? Are you making queens for just yourself, or are you going to be selling some queens?
No, these are probably, I mean, I try and sell a few nukes every year, which is part of my turnover. So next year I'll be selling some of the, probably not many next year, because I'm going to do some grafts like today and tomorrow from these, because there's actually 2 frames of beautiful larvae, and I've got a choice, which one do I do? Or certain choices we have, you know.
If you ask me, the buckfast, definite.
Yeah, but I bought some carney to try, because the reason behind that is I've had a problem where a lot of my buckfast are so hungry every year that we had some starvation this spring, and I'm thinking if I can bring a little bit of a different genetic into the drones around here, maybe that will help them cope with a little bit better with the being so hungry, and then maybe put a little bit more in the frame. I don't know, it's just a long-term thought, but it's also good to have different genetics in. But that was my general thought, yeah, on that.
Yeah, because if you ask me, I'm not a big fan of carnies, but I know loads of people who swear by them.
Yeah.
I'm more of a buckfast guy, and maybe the cross of the Welsh black bees we've got at home. But I've kept carnies in the past, and they were the swarmiest bees I've ever kept in my life.
This is exactly what everyone said to me, and I'm
but you talk to other people,
yeah,
and they say they're amazing.
And do you know what? You can't say until you've tried.
100%.
You know,
yeah,
so I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going to be, all my queens next year will be from larvae I raised from one of these 2, I hope. So if one does go or doesn't make it, I've got the other one to fall back on. You know what I mean?
And what's nice here, because it's a bit of an experiment, you'll have 2 batches of nukes basically, a nukes with this breeder queen, a nukes with that breeder queen. They're both going to mate with the bees that you got in the area.
Yep.
Spring next year, you're going to know straight away which one of these cross better with the bees in the area.
Yeah, and so even if I've done a few grafts now, which I maybe get 10 of each or 20 of each, if I can get them into some nukes this autumn, by the spring, like you say, we'll have a good idea what really is good.
Yeah, and it might be these carnies do really well.
I mean, other people I know several people, but a lot of people I know with carnies are a little bit further north. And then someone said to me, oh, they probably swarm a bit earlier than the buckfast. I'm like, well, actually, that will probably help me because I have more time to deal with it all.
Yeah.
Because the season's so short, they always seem to swarm at the wrong time. But that's the reason I built the honey house like I have, so that I can be out dealing with the swarms when I need to be, not slaving over an extraction line, you know. But we shall see. I mean, there's so many theories we put into place as beekeepers, and I think you just got to focus on what you believe is the right thing, and then see how it works out. You can't not make a decision. You just go for what you believe is right, and then hopefully we'll have some good results. Yeah. It's good to raise queens. It's good to raise as many as you can yourself. I do buy some in. I've actually ordered. I've also got some carnies. I've got 30 carnies coming as well from Apistono this year. They're coming next week, as well as the ones I'm grafting. So I could try them all and see how they do.
Well, that's it. I think we've taken enough of Richard's time. Richard needs to go to work. He's not on holiday like me.
Out to these this afternoon. Yeah. Honey, bee escapes, more of these, making nukes. It's exhausting. It's drudgery, but we love it, don't we? Of course we do.
In 2 months' time, the season will be well and truly finished, and we'll have plenty
We'll be twiddling our thumbs going, what are we going to do? No, it's great because the whole time scale it's actually perfect, because by the time I've finished hopefully all my extraction and making nukes and it's virtually done, then this place takes over. And I'm so fortunate that I've been able to be here during every part of the build. And that's what I love about a project, is if you can be part of it. I know every inch of that building, literally every inch, and we'll just move away from these bees.
We don't want to get stung.
And I consider that in my life, to be able to be part of that is such a privilege, you know what I mean, to be able to see it, you know, because you can really engineer it how you want, then you can really make sure you get everything how
100%.
You know, it's really, really good.
100%. Well, everybody stay tuned and watch Richard's channel. I'm sure there'll be plenty of videos showing the updated.
And don't forget to watch Chris where he does beekeeping, farming, countryside living and reviews as well.
Not See you all in the next video.
Take care, bye-bye.